Get him!
Merry Christmas! Let's party!
Christmas. Christmas. Yeah.
Oh goodness, this is a special Christmas episode. Today with just
my
me and
gosh.
Silver. Jason's got family stuff. Ross, who knows what that degenerate is up to. We were going to do it yesterday, and a bunch of people couldn't show up. So I scrapped all of the plans and all of the stuff that I had prepared, and now we're just gonna hang out and talk about Christmas, me and Silver. Well, first of all, I would like to readdress the problem that we were having just before the podcast, as me and Silver were arguing about the extent of which Santa has his powers. See, I have issues. I have issues, Silver. I have grievances.
You do have issues.
You have issues. Good Lord. First
You
of
have
all,
issues.
so the question is Santa Claus criminally liable if he gifts somebody something like a gun that they then use to commit atrocities with? And Silver's contention is no, because he doesn't know what he's going to be doing with said gun. You would...
Yeah.
Yeah, so you defend this position?
Oh, yeah.
Well, justify it to me.
Well, I already did beforehand, but it's like Santa doesn't know if you're gonna be evil in the future. Just be like, oh, that guy, you were good this year. Here's your present. What you want?
No,
A gun.
Does he not know if you're naughty or nice?
He does know if you're naughty or nice,
So he
but
could
not
see
future naughty or nice.
Well, but he could see into your soul.
Yeah, to see if you're naughty or nice in the moment. Throughout the year, it's like his little check mark box is like, were you good today? Yep. The bad today? Uh-huh. You had more good days than naughty days. Well, I guess you're nice this year.
So he has no responsibility with what he gives you because he just currently knows if you're a good person. Would a good person ask for an item that they would intentionally use to cause harm? Would that still constitute a good person, or do you have to wait until it's committed?
Well, I don't think Santa could know, like, that
What do you mean
good
he
person's
can't
gonna
know?
use it
He
for
knows.
bad
He knows
intentions.
the darkness of your soul, Silver.
Yeah, but they're good at the moment. You can't know. That's gonna be like, oh, in 10 years, they're gonna use that gun I gifted them to murder their husband.
First of all, if you're good at the moment, are you good if you ask for a nuclear weapon with the intention of causing global holocaust? Are you
Then
good at the
no.
moment?
If you were like, Santa, I was good this year and I want a gun for Christmas so I can shoot this guy, then no. I don't think Santa would give that to you then.
Well, he hasn't done it yet.
No, No, they haven't done it yet, but they're like, I fully intend to get this gun to kill them.
Well, does he have to tell Santa, or does it mar his soul when he asks for said weapon and he doesn't tell Santa what it's for, but Santa should be able to know if he's giving him something, because obviously there's some evil intention involved. Am I?
But you keep saying, oh, Santa could see into your soul, so if you have a bad intention for getting that present, then yeah, I think he'd know.
Don't dismiss
But
the
future intention
Santa...
that you haven't come up with yet.
First of all, bad impression of me. Second of all, don't pass off. Oh, he can see into your soul. If he can tell, Silver, I swear to Pete, I'm going to punch your giant Godzilla face. If he can see into your soul, then he know. If he knows if you're naughty or nice, he can see into your soul. Is that not correct?
Yes, that's correct. I think that's correct.
Okay, then what's your problem? Does he not know what you intend to do? Even, let's say I asked for a truck, and I asked for a specific truck that's got pointy edges, because I intend to bludgeon my cousin with it and crack her skull open. Would he tell why I'm asking for the truck? Would it mar me in some way? And he would know. And then would said giving of the truck be implied a guilt upon his part, because he knows what I'm going to do with it? Silver?
Well, if he knows what you're going to do with it, then he's not going to give it to you. If you're like, oh, yeah, dear Santa, I would like a truck with sharp edges to murder my cousin with. And he'd be like, that's no good.
I don't tell him that. I keep it to myself. I keep it secret. I keep it secret.
Maybe he has a secret, like, elf spy network. Go in and read your secret journals and be like, this kid's up to no good.
What do you mean,
murder his cousin?
What is he, the NSA or something? They're all peeping in my windows like pervy. Here's the problem with
I just
Santa.
watched Tim Allen, the Santa Claus, and yes, absolutely, the elves are like that.
Well, what if you're doing something pervy and he's checking in on you to see if you're naughty or nice, and he's like, "Oh, I shouldn't see that."
He knows when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. They'd be like, "Oh gosh, what's this kid up to?"
So Santa's a creepy voyeur, and someone who does a breaking and entering to consume the souls of children, I believe.
Yeah. Never forget that the shadow of Saint Nick is in fact Krampus. Never forget.
Never forget, never forgive. Oh yeah, it's Silver. Peace, man.
Here to spread holiday cheer.
With destruction. With destruction and bad takes on Santa Claus.
You know, that's what Tokyo asked for Christmas. To be destroyed.
And Santa's like, would you take care of this for me? Would you pinch hit for me?
Yeah. I'm like,
how many times do they have to rebuild like that industrial section?
So many times.
You just smash it every time it shows up.
Yeah. You know what's in that plant?
No. Toys, I assume?
Radiation. Tasty.
You can't stomp radiation. Oh, so you're just consuming it, so it's a selfish endeavor.
Oh, yeah.
You care not for the people.
Why do you think I keep attacking that one plant? Fuels my soul.
You're a bad person?
I know.
Well, don't defend yourself so aggressively. You're like, yeah.
No one to admit it.
You're like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
Just try and one-up me. Fight me on.
I will fight you. I have fought you. But we should set our differences aside Because it's
For the
Christmas.
spirit of Crimbus.
For the spirit of Crimbus. How's it going, Silver? Now that you've overcome your studies.
The great finales. Going great. I've slept. I'm so happy.
Slept if you overslept.
Oh yeah. That
Sometimes it's
first day after finals, I was gone for like 10 hours. It was amazing.
sometimes it's a double-edged sword because it's like it makes you tired if you oversleep as well. So it's hard to tell what the consequences long term is going to be with an
Probably
oversleep.
bad. Probably.
Just remove a few years from your eternal slumber as a kaiju monster. Just, yeah. Well, you've moved past your problems. And sometimes Silver goes silent because she has internet connection issues. Because her internet's doo-doo, and she chews in the cords. Famously, much like cats. That being said, it's a special Christmas episode, and we have a lot to talk about. I prepared a bunch of Christmas stuff, but the degenerates weren't able to participate. And there's a lot more that we have to go through regardless. So we're going to sit down and we're going to have a discussion about, excuse me, like always, a bunch of the things that have happened this last week. News and movies and video games and whatnot. And we're just going to have a jolly time. You know, if you, before we get too far into it, a lot of people have I don't know. We could lean into the awkward Christmas praise element of everything. Christmas is a special time where you and your loved ones get together and you have a special yada, yada, yada. Oh, look at Silver again. I know not everybody. Well, generally Christmas is like a giving time of year where you purchase things for people you care about or have an obligation to. And sometimes it's not as spectacular. What I'm alluding to, Silver,
Yes.
is that sometimes Christmas isn't as special for everybody.
Uh-huh.
The point, I suppose, is to take the season and reflect on what's important and not obsess over whether or not you have things. One of the biggest problems of Christmas, as we live in a consumer culture, is we get a stark contrast of how other people are getting cool things and we are not. Like giant kaiju Christmas hats that would cost the gross GDP of normal African countries. And comparing yourself to other people creates resentment and greed. And a lot of people are alone for Christmas. So I challenge you to see those you interact with or even consume. Where am I going with this? Your friends can be your family. And podcasts like this can be your social event. We are here to provide. Look. This podcast, as awful as it is a gift.
No.
Much like anything else, because it's free. And you're hanging out with us, like you'd be hanging out with friends on the couch, having stupid conversations about the nature of Santa Claus and how wrong Silver is.
Hey.
As is her nature. So let this be your special Christmas time as we hang out and have stupid conversations about movies and stuff. Which means I would like to move into the Superman trailer. Did you watch the Superman trailer?
No, actually.
Um,
Oh gosh. Is that a Yamcha? That's a Yamcha.
Oh,
Oh,
calm
no.
yourself.
No,
So-
look, it's a Yamcha pose. It's like a Stark.
Well, yes, Yamcha's natural pose is lying prone on the ground. That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yamcha being one of the worst DBZ characters, as Silver well knows.
No.
You shut your dirty mouth. Yamcha sucks.
You shut your dirty mouth.
He becomes a baseball player to try and overcome other people because he can't hack it with the big dogs.
Oh, come on. Have you seen that Wolf Fang Fist?
Wolfang fist my grandma.
R.
My gra-
R. Rex.
My grandmother could survive a Wolfang fist, Silver.
What about his cool mullet?
You
So
mean
cool.
his not cool mullet? Don't do that. Don't try and Yamcha apologist. This is not the time nor the place. We're talking about Superman. You know what? Why don't you quietly watch the Superman trailer while I talk about this, so you can be caught up with the rest of us, because you seem to be not
Hi, I'm
connected with
back. I
everything.
couldn't hear you complain about Yamcha.
Well, you just turn things off when people start talking trash about your beloved character.
Apparently, my internet turns off whenever you start slandering the Yamcha name.
Liable? Liable would be the. That being said, why don't you watch the Superman trailer really quick while I talk about it? So the Superman trailers
Okay.
hit everybody as Silver catches up with the rest of the world. And it's been a massive... There's been a huge reaction to its existence. Now, there are a few reasons for this. Let's put this in context. Lest we forget, we had a attempted boot and failure of a DC run in wake of Marvel's massive success. And by that I mean the Snyderverse. And the Snyderverse, though had some successful films, was ultimately a failure from the perspective of the fans, as well as, in many ways, long-term failure. Because the movies didn't capture or have as much... I guess longevity as everybody would have hoped that they would, because Zack Snyder doesn't understand superheroes or doesn't understand how to make movies that people like. And so one of the biggest issues with the Zack Snyderverse is Superman was depressed and unlikable, and Batman was a psychopath who murders people. And he got everything completely wrong. Marvel did it correctly. They started out with one movie and they just make a good Iron Man movie. It's like, okay, that was working. So let's make a good Iron Man movie. Let's make a good Captain America movie. Okay, that works. Let's make a good Thor movie. Okay, that works. And then let's walk our way into doing a combo film with the Avengers. You take it step by step. DC basically tried to rush headlong into one Superman movie, then the Justice League, and then a bunch of failed movies after that. And we had a decent Wonder Woman, and then a bunch of crappy films after that. DC has struggled to get its cinematic universe off of the ground. Needless to say, I think most people would be honest. Whether or not you like the Snyder movies, which I don't, they sort of struggled to get the movies together. And one of the problems with the Snyderverse is how it failed to realize who these characters really are. Hence, we are approaching Gunn's universe. Now, James Gunn is the individual that made the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, quirky ensemble, with goofy characters and whatnot. And Guardians of the Galaxy, if anyone knows anything about comics, are like a D tier sort of comic line. They weren't as popular as anybody seems to remember. Nobody really knew much about Guardians of the Galaxy. They were just kind of there, and they were participant in things, but they were never a main draw. And he turned them into something because he's got this attitude of making these quirky ensemble features. He likes these oddball shows. That's why we got his version of a Suicide Squad. Well, because he was so successful, they decided to put him in charge of DC. So here we are with James Gunn being put in charge of DC. In his first outing, Creature Commandos, an awkward adult animated show with nudity and like cussing and like it just it feels very much a James Gunn sort of show, and it sucks because nobody really cares about Creature Commandos. But for this franchise to succeed, it rides mainly on the success of your big main tentpoles that are tentpoles of superhero comics, period. It's going to be your Superman. It's going to be your Batman. It's going to be your Wonder Woman. I mean, some of the biggest superhero comics of all time, most recognizable superheroes, is going to be Superman, Batman, probably Spider-Man. So Superman has to succeed. If we're going to do a new reboot, we're going to have a new universe, and we're going to have all of this under James Gunn's umbrella, we're going to have a successful Superman film. And so here we are presented with the first trailer. Now, not to put too much weight on the success of this thing, but in wake of the failure of the DC universe and in wake of the failure of the Marvel superhero movies, which haven't been good since, honestly, I mean, I'd like to say Endgame, but we had that Spider-Man show up. So Spider-Man, but there were a lot of bad ones in the interim. And there are a lot of reasons for the lack of success, which we can get into. But here we are presented with a Superman film. Superman has to... Here's the thing. As I'm waiting to see if Silver has finished the trailer. No.
I finished
despite... Awesome. Despite what Max Landis seems to say... Excuse me, I'm going to blow my nose real quick. That's really good for audio for the internet.
Weirdly enough, I didn't hear it.
I guess I turned enough off of the mic that it didn't pick it up. Despite what Max Landis said, and his contention that nobody cares about Superman, Superman is extremely important in a number of ways. So, this character is... Here's the problem with a lot of these superhero characters. The problem with a lot of the adaptations that we get down the road. Whether it's Superman or Sonic the Hedgehog or Marvel or Star Wars, it's the lack of the idea that they understand who these characters are and why they mean anything. Superman is quintessentially an American icon. He's been around since like the 30s. He's one of the original superheroes. He is an iconic American character that's an important part of sort of America's psyche. And I'm not overplaying it. Superman was the character all the little boys looked up to, the comics everybody had. We had a Superman TV series, back in the 30s and 40s. He was everywhere. Superman is an essential part of Americana. It's a part of our lore. He's a part of the stories that we tell each other, and it tells Americans a lot about how they see themselves in the world. When you make mythical heroes, that stand that stand as exemplars and representations of how we should see ourselves interact with the world. It was a character who started with humble means and demonstrates it's like the classic adage, ultimate power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. And Superman was kind of a contrast to that. He was somebody that had ultimate power. He was unstoppable, invulnerable, indestructible. He could do anything. He'd be anything. And bad writers struggled to understand what to do with this character. But the problem is the struggle isn't who Superman, but the fact that Superman's almost undefeatable. The struggle is that Superman has ultimate power and it's what he chooses to do with it. And it's a message to people who read it, and it was an example for decades and decades to little boys in this country and around the world, that despite having ultimate power, it's what you do with it that matters. Superman's meant to be a hopeful character. He's meant to stand apart and do with what he has in good ways. And a lot of the reasons why he is the way that he is because of how he was raised. He was raised by good parents, simply on a farm. He didn't grow up as a wealthy person, and he's been given so much and he chooses to do good with it. He's an important character to how we see ourselves and how we reflect ourselves in the world. Superman, and I know culture changes and Superman's importance is kind of shifted back and forth. Batman became more prevalent in the 80s and 90s as people became more cynical with crime out of control and wanting to punch the issues that we have criminally across. And these characters have existed throughout, like, it's like the Shadow originally existed back in the day as sort of a response to the rampant criminal issues that happened in like the 20s and stuff. And you had Daredevil show up in an era where people were having issues with the corporate corruption connected to city corruption, where he's trying to deal with crime on it's a self-expression. It's a power fantasy of trying to deal with the issues of the day, and an example of sort of reflection of the culture at the time. But Superman always stood apart because he was this hopeful character who showed us that you can be good despite the fact that no one can really harm you. Like Superman could easily, and they've done alternate versions of this, become some sort of crazy dictator if he landed somewhere else, like with Red Sun. I'm sure you haven't read it, Silver, but Superman, there's an alternate version where Superman lands in the Soviet Union and becomes like a tool of the Soviet Union, where he's like this enforcer of Soviet ideals, and he's just this awful person.
Don't like that.
No, it's really good book, and it's a fascinating idea to think about of what would Superman be if he'd have landed anywhere else. So Superman's actually very important. Max Landis is wrong. People do care about Superman, and people do care about what Superman is. It's important because we know what we expect from this character. And they keep getting him wrong. Why in the world did we need to get a depressed Superman in the Snyderverse who didn't want to save people, or he doesn't have to, or they don't deserve it? It's like the point of Superman is he has all this power and he's going to do good with it. Like, that's the point of who he is. When you make a Superman show, you need to have Superman saving people. That's the point. He needs to do good. He's a hopeful character. He's not cynical or jaded about the crime rampant throughout Gotham City. He's not. He's not that character. And everybody acts like, oh, well, it's shocking. You know, we get a new Superman film. Does anybody really? I saw an article just today. Does anyone really care about Superman? We do, believe it or not. He is ingrained in our psyche and in our culture. And an example of this is the like versus dislike on the Superman video. I'm going to actually quote what's going on with Disney Snow White.
Queen.
Oh, so Disney Snow White's like versus dislike ratio is 32,000 likes versus 810,000 dislikes.
Oh.
Why do you think people are unhappy with the Snow White trailer?
This is another trailer I haven't seen, so couldn't tell you.
Well, what would be your guess as to what people aren't happy with?
What could they possibly have done? I don't know. Is it how they're like depicting Snow White? Is she completely like not like the kind person you expect her to be, like in the old movie? She completely different.
You're touching on it. They don't like it because she's not who she's supposed to be. She's not the archetype that she's supposed to play. She's not the character we all remember. They're getting it wrong. Snow White isn't a feminist activist. She doesn't represent sort of egalitarianism or like that's not who Snow White is. Snow White is a old tale about a character and jealousy and beauty and growing old. It's like these are essential human stories that people can connect with. And then they just don't understand why people aren't connected with the trailer because they don't understand the story that they're trying to make. They don't get it. They don't know what Snow White's supposed to be. The like versus dislike ratio of the new Superman trailer is 1.1 million to 71,000. Dramatically different. They couldn't be more opposite. Everybody loves the Superman trailer. Everybody hates the Snow White trailer. Why? Because Superman looks and acts like you would expect Superman to look and act. And anybody out there saying, do we really care about Superman? We do, apparently. I think people are hungry for a great Superman movie, but a great Superman movie that's accurate to Superman. And that's the problem. We reject Snow White because that's not Snow White. These characters are important to our mythos, to how we see ourselves. We grew up with these characters. We know how they're supposed to act, what type of things they're supposed to do. And when you don't represent them well, we don't like it. When you do represent Superman well, we tend to like it. And I don't know why this is so hard to get through the thick skulls of Hollywood. How this is so confusing for them to figure out. Now, is the trailer perfect? No. But it's Superman. It's not depressed Superman. It's not cynical Superman. It's Superman saving people and being a representative of hope that he's supposed to be. What did you think about the trailer, Silver?
I was surprised that it was more Superman, you know?
Yeah, how shocking to expect a Superman trailer for a Superman movie that looks like Superman and acts like Superman.
I was like, my gosh, I think they got it.
Yeah, and hopefully they did. The trailers are just advertisements. Yeah. But then it's like you see the like versus dislike ratio, and they love it. They love it. Why? Because it's super, like, he's hopeful. He's trying to do good. You know what's great? To have a conversation about a movie, and we're not talking about race swapping. We're not talking about politics. We're not talking about drama. It's just Superman being Superman, trying to save people and being an iconic character that that's the problem. We all know this character. We've grown up with this character. We know who he's supposed to be. We know who he's supposed to represent. We know when you get these characters wrong. And we could tell when Snow White doesn't look like Snow White or act like Snow White. And we know when Superman is acting like Superman. Which should tell you why the contrast is so dramatically different between the Superman we get in this and the Snow White we get in the other trailer. Superman feels like he's saving people and doing good, and he's not cynical about it or jaded. And I think we're over the anti-hero. We're over it. We're sick of them misrepresenting the characters we love. We're over it. Sorry, I've been ranting, but your internet has been terrible, so I have to fill in the blanks, Silver, because you're just your internet represents your moral character. It's terrible.
I can't tell you how many times I've switched from a hotspot to actual Wi-Fi, and they're both awful.
Tell me what you think of the Superman trailer, so I don't just it doesn't become Rhett the podcast.
So far, I think it looks really good.
It looks
what
fun.
You want in a Superman. Yeah. I'm not quite sure who the villain's supposed to be or the hint at. You see Lex Luthor in there. Also, Nicholas Holt. Which I'm just like, Nicholas Holt as Lex Luthor. Huh.
You a little bit mixed on that?
I always pictured Lex Luthor. I'm a bit mixed on that because maybe I'm just thinking of like cartoons before where Lex Luthor was like usually an older guy instead of like the Zack Snyder one and this one where it's like this young guy. I don't know. It's always just been off-putting to me. Might just be my opinion.
No, it's fine.
I like Nicholas Holt, so I think he'll do fine.
I think he probably will. You know what's funny? Let me see if I can't find. I'm going to bring up this story that. Here. So apparently, Jesse Eisenberg said that playing Lex Luthor hurt his career.
Ooh. Ow. No one liked him.
Well, because the movie sucked and he kind of sucked. It just didn't feel like Lex Luthor. He felt like he was trying to do quirky Joker character or something.
He was an odd character. I really didn't like him as Lex Luthor.
Well, awkwardly pushing in a Jolly Rancher into a guy's mouth was kind of weird.
Oh, they did.
Yeah. Let me read a quote. I was in a Batman movie, and the Batman movie was so poorly received, and I was so poorly received. I've never seen this before, and it's kind of embarrassing to admit, but I genuinely think it actually hurt my career in a real way because I was poorly received in something so public, especially something so big.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that should also tell you why Batman and Superman and stuff are so important. These characters are important. You can't screw with them. This isn't your opportunity to do your artful rendition of who you think these characters are, Zack Snyder. It's not your opportunity to try and change everything and to make it modernized for general audiences or whatever you think you're doing. People will respond poorly because you're screwing it up, because we know who these characters are. They're ingrained in who we are as people. We know who Superman is. He tells us about our relationship with the world and how we see things. Superheroes are important for how young men have grown up because they grew up reading these things, they grew up watching the cartoons. And when you screw it up, we can tell. And Zack Snyder's a hack, and he doesn't know what he's doing. That being said, the Superman trailer isn't perfect. I mean, plenty of channels have sat and analyzed the trailer in minute detail. The general sentiment seems to be positive. I don't think it hurt the future chances of Superman. we'll have to see where it goes. I don't care what the nerds say. Crypto the Wonder Dog is kind of dumb, and I wouldn't put him in it.
Aww. Cute.
We don't need a dog with a cape, but whatever.
He feels like the wrong type of dog, but whatever. Again, I'm thinking cartoons that I saw with my brother when I was little. Crypto was like a big white dog, not like a tiny poofy poodle or whatever it was.
It seemed like a terrier, I guess.
I need to look back at it. I forget already.
You just erased it from
Show
your
me
mind.
that dog.
Show me that dog. Well, and I would be showing the trailer right now, but apparently they're so aggressive about copyright with this thing that everybody's getting dinged for copyright watching this trailer. So I ain't touching it.
Where are you, dog?
It is really early. Probably like 20, 30 seconds in.
I must have skipped it.
Imperfect outfit. I don't like Clark Kent's hair. But overall, it's like, yeah, maybe. They might pull it off.
Looks more like the old Superman costume.
It does.
At least closer than the Zack Snyder one.
Uh-huh. Now that we're all hopeful about the future of Superman, and I suppose I could have opined a lot more generally about the character and why I think it's important and stuff. Now it's time to be like, hey, there's actually dumb politics involved. So James Gunn, who's kind of a douche, believe it or not, had some things to say about the Superman and the movie he's making. And during a recent Q&A session at the trailer's premiere, the director acknowledged the political implications present in the film, saying that there is a theme of a bruised and bloodied America through it. He says, "We do have a battered Superman in the beginning, and that is our country." The trailer debuted online Thursday, teasing a whole new cinematic universe for the legendary DC Comics superhero. Superman is played by actor David Corenswet, this time around alongside Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane. In addition to reintroducing the audience to a classic Superman characters, a roughly 2-minute trailer featured the titular character in dire straits, lying bloody and bruised in an Arctic wasteland. I believe in the goodness of human beings, and I believe that most people in this country, despite their ideological beliefs, their politics, and are doing their best to get by and be good people, despite what it may seem like to the other side. This movie is about that. It's about the basic kindness of human beings, and that it can be seen as uncool and under siege by some darker voices are some of the louder voices. It's about the basic kindness of human beings. It's a noble premise, and one thing that seems designed to appeal across the political spectrum. That's good. It's a moral call to embrace decency and optimism. Just to remind everybody, Gunn has stated about Donald Trump as an incompetent president, forging a full-blown attack on facts and journalism in his style of the little man with a mustache and Putin. So basically, according to Gunn, Superman being bloodied and beaten in this movie is an allegory for America. All right.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, okay. Here, look, the movie can probably still be fine and not be political messaging, but we don't need Gunn sitting around in the background going, yeah, it actually represents America and how he's overcoming dictatorships. And it's like, oh, calm down, James Gunn. See, I was hopeful that we could have a conversation about what a superhero is and how this looks good going down the road without turning this into a movie about politics and talking about Trump. Ugh. The movie could still be good. Why? Why? Does everything have to be political? Silver? Everything?
Apparently,
Everything?
yes.
Can't have
Everything.
a conversation without politics being drawn into every conversation?
I don't know, it just harms them. They're like, oh, keep going. More
no,
politics.
Don't bring it up. Let people figure it out themselves. Just give them a movie. Let them superimpose their hope and belief into it on their own. I don't know. Maybe I'm insane. What do you think, Silver? Do you have hope for the Superman, for the superhero movie in general? I mean, Marvel's just sucked, and I haven't been happy with the Snyderverse. Like, how do you see superhero movies at the moment, or movies in general? A lot of people seem to see that superhero movies are only salvation that Hollywood has at the moment, because nobody seems happy with anything that they seem to be producing. Nothing. Bad internet. Now that I've asked you an interesting question. All right. Fine. No, just...
I'm back. What happened?
Oh my gosh. I asked you an interesting question, and then I was like, oh, nothing to say, huh, Silver? Oh.
Well, I heard, what do you think about superhero movies in general?
Like, because Marvel's kind of sucked lately. The DC movies have kind of sucked lately. Like, lest we forget, we had the Flash movie.
Oh, no,
we had
don't
the
remind me.
Aquaman 2 movie. We had the Black Adam. You forget that?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I forgot about that.
How about the Marvels?
Yeah. Now looking at all those, remembering all those, superhero movies in general, I feel like they've really gone downhill since. Oh, what was that one? Endgame?
Yeah, I would agree.
I drop again.
No,
I'm
you're
still
fine.
here, thank goodness.
No, I'll let you speak, bro.
No, it's because the screen looking at the snowflakes falling like stopped for me, and I'm like, oh no, it's gone.
Well, the loop isn't
Fine,
perfect, so it glitches every now and then, like it shifts.
Okay. I thought that was me disappearing into the void.
Well, it could be both.
So yeah, I think probably. Yeah, I think movies have gone down, especially superhero movies, since Endgame. They just haven't been the same since, because they're like trying to scramble together, like, oh, this did so well. What if we try and reforge something? Completely rewrite the universe, make all these series that we throw together in a matter of minutes. And they're just not good. I feel like all of them have been that way.
I think they're hoping that superhero movies will rescue Hollywood, which has been doing poorly. And the only thing coming out that might help reboot superhero movies is Superman. So there's a lot of hope, I think, put on Superman's shoulders. Yeah, I don't see Marvel like we've got the Captain America Brave New World, and it looks like after 4 reshoots, people still hate the movie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look good. So it's like, what chance do we have? Like what blockbuster movies are coming that anybody puts hope in? Hollywood is set for a reset and a new paradigm shift. People aren't going to theaters as much as they used to. I guess the financial model is going to have to shift. We're in a transitionary phase, and the releasing things to theaters and getting big returns. I mean, look at Red One was in the theaters for like a handful of months. I want to say weeks before it showed up on streaming on Amazon.
Oh yeah, that was like immediate. That was amazing.
Joker 2 was out for a couple months before it hit streaming on HBO Max. There have been a lot of failures. Joker 1 got $1 billion. It was the highest grossing rated R movie at the time. And Joker 2 was such an abysmal failure. I mean, it lost money. It lost the studio money.
No surprise there.
Superman isn't just a hopeful character. He's the hope of Hollywood. And
it's all right with Superman.
Yeah, I'm not 100% convinced.
Venom ain't gonna save this. Kraven the Hunter ain't gonna save this.
Kraven the Hunter did not save this.
Oh.
Which brings me around to Wicked. So everybody were expecting... Here, I'm going to news dump really quick. Oh my gosh, what happened to my news dump? There it is.
The Distracted Gamer Podcast's big steaming pile of news dump.
Speaking of Wicked, Silver's favorite movie. So Wicked has done extremely well financially. But shockingly, it's kind of run out of steam. I think everybody kind of expected that it was going to hit like $1 billion. Like I expected it was going to hit like $1 billion. At this point, it's about 571, and it might have run out of its steam at this point. Now it's made money and it's done very well. But it was outpaced. I don't know if that's still the case, but it was outpaced by Gladiator 2 internationally. And it doesn't seem to have the longevity everybody was expecting. It's sitting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone who's wanted to see it saw it immediately.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
It's just everyone else left.
Well, and one of the questions might be, why has it run out of steam? Well, it got replaced by Moana. And Moana just ate its lunch as the new movie everybody wanted to see. And in a shocking turn of events, we've had Sonic 3 and Mufasa come out, and both of those have replaced Moana in the theaters. And even shocking turn of events, Sonic 3 is the dominant movie this week. With Mufasa limping. They were predicting Mufasa to do like 50, 60 million. Now it looks like to be about 35. Mufasa is underperforming, and Sonic 3 seems to just be dominating the box office at the moment.
Of course, those young boys want to see Sonic.
Well,
Who wants to see Mufasa?
Nobody wants
Simba's
to see
dad.
Nobody wants to see Simba's dad. Well, and the funny thing is, you have a good point there. Young boys do want to see Sonic 3. So do I. Because Sonic...
I'm going to see it Christmas Eve. It's happening.
Well, there's this point, funny enough, that Sonic has sort of replaced everything as the new boy brand, where it's the new brand that young boys like to go see. And you might go, oh, what about Star Wars? They turned it into a girl brand, like Acolyte and the last movies. Marvel isn't even a boy brand anymore. We've got these dominant female characters in the... And now, look, when you don't have a brand that boys can flock to and love, you know what they're going to do? They're going to move on to something else. And it seems to be like nobody expected Sonic 3 to succeed. Nobody did, or Sonic to succeed at all. Unless we forget the first Sonic movie started out with just a horrific character and massive sort of backlash to how they're portraying their character. If you remember the original CGI version. And we have some interesting commentary from
I'll never forget that.
from the Wrap with the director talking about it. And he said some very interesting things, and I'd like you to react to it. The fans needed to know that they were being heard, and that they needed to hear that from me. The message was loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes, it's going to happen. And here we are, 3 movies, the third movie after that comment and after the entire redesign. And we have a massively successful film. And I think part of the reason is because he understood that fans want their character. Fans want the character that they love. They don't want a redesign. They don't want a reimagining. They want Sonic because they love Sonic, not because they want you to rejigger who you think Sonic should be and then watch the movie fail. This is every movie that comes out that's got an established IP. You're going to make a Superman movie, give us Superman. If you're going to make a Sonic movie, give us Sonic. When you make Snow White and it doesn't look like, act like, or seem like Snow White, guess what? We don't want it. This is not that big. This is not that hard to understand. And I know we're a No Nothing podcast, but if you find yourself a member of Hollywood and you've wandered in here, you need to get that this is why your movies are failing. People go to the movie to see a Sonic movie because they love Sonic. And hopefully it's good and it brings other people in. Fans will be your biggest advocate and they will be your biggest critic. They will march across the internet lockstep over and over again telling you how crappy your movie looks. And the fact that Fowler understood enough that fans want what they love and understood that they needed to reshift the movie to give fans what that they're desperately acting for. People desperately want a good Superman movie. They desperately want it. He has some more interesting things to say. I've worked on dozens of films. It's rare to be so excited to work on a film the way I am with Sonic. He's worked on Fast and the Furious, 21 Jump Street. He's like, there is a love for this world and these characters, and that is in every shot. I credit that to Jeff, who is not just incredibly hardworking, but kind as well. There's no wait and see from anybody. It was clear what had to be done. Paramount moved back the release from November to February of the next year. We got in a room with every executive of Paramount and told them how long it would take to fix and how much it would cost, and they immediately said, okay, go do it. Let's see. He's got a really good quote. I'm trying to find it. Sorry. Let's see. He turns to a drawing, yada, yada, yada. Regardless, let's see. By the time Jim and I were shooting Sonic 3, it's in here somewhere. The point is that Fowler kind of understands that you make these movies to please the fans. Oh, here it is. I think it's a little funny that the work that we've done really reflects the message of these films. When you've got the right people on your side and you're willing to listen to each other and complement each other's strengths, there's nothing you can't accomplish. Listen to the fans. They'll tell you what they want. And if you listen to them and you do what they want or what they expect for a movie, you'll get success because you're leaning into what the fans really want from these films. That's the attitude that everybody in Hollywood should be doing. Should be having, regardless. Listen to them and do what they do what fans expect. Silver, I assume, is not with us. Let's shift on again. Oh, lovely. Let's shift on to... You're just kind of in and out. You're a participant and you're not.
I know.
Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, and Kraven the Hunter just ate it hard at the box office. War of the Rohirrim drew just $4.5 million. With international being about 8 million. The budget for the movie is something like 30. Looking gosh. To Kraven the Hunter, I believe the budget's 130 million, and it brought in 11 million over the weekend. Hey, everybody. You made bad movies because you don't understand these characters, and you're not reflecting who everybody expects to see when it comes to these movies. You don't get them. And you're just shoving crap out and putting money into a hole. War of the Rohirrim was a bad movie because it doesn't understand. It doesn't get why people like these films. You're not smarter than Tolkien, who wrote these beforehand. You can't just create new stuff out of whole cloth and expect everybody to love it.
No, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work.
There's so many other books they could use.
There really are.
Just- Why? There's so many.
Beren and Luthien, Children of Húrin. Just a few examples of things that they could have done.
Darian? Come on.
Hey, Silver, are you excited for the new
Oh.
Masters of the Universe movie, the new He-Man movie?
Oh gosh. No.
Guess what? Guess who's Skeletor?
No.
Who could you guess?
No. Jack Black.
Jared Leto. Because when I think of He-Man, I think of Jared Leto, the weird cult leader and Jesus
It's
faker.
Morbin time.
Hey, everybody, remember that really bad Joker?
Gosh.
Remember the really bad Joker? We need him as Skeletor in the new He-Man movie.
Remember Morbin time?
I remember Morbin time.
Well. Time for Morbin.
In the face of new movies coming out. So David Ayer, who directed the famously failed Suicide Squad, has been calling for a director's cut like they did with the Zack Snyder and the Justice League. He keeps claiming that it's actually going to be amazing and they're suppressing his film's cut and they just need to release it. He's really trying to turn this into one of the Snyder Cut things, and they're doing hashtags on the internet. I don't think anyone cares or is clamoring for a David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. I don't think it's going to save the movie.
It's not that steaming pile of trash.
Suicide Squad
Can't
sucked already.
unburn trash.
I don't think David Ayer is really going to fix the problem. Shifting on. So, in a shocking turn of events, Silver, you might be surprised by this. According to Disney executives, the reason why The Acolyte was cut is because it cost too much.
Okay.
and as
Because
I've
everyone
said-
hated it.
Well, see, that's the thing. If you ever ask yourself a question as to whether or not something's successful, it involves two things. How much did it cost? Was it popular? And if it cost too much and not enough people liked it, that's why it got canceled. That's it. That's the only paradigm you should really consider. People didn't like The Acolyte and it was too expensive. Across the board, that was the reason it was canceled. Like that's it. Even if I think it's a bad movie, if people loved it, or a bad show, if people loved it, and it didn't cost a lot, we might have gotten a season 2. But it was too expensive, and no one liked it. That's why it's canceled. This is the only measurement that should mean anything. Studios don't exist just to throw money into a hole and set it on fire so that you can watch movies you like. Even if you like something, if there's not enough viewers and it costs too much, that's why it gets canceled. Hey, everybody. Guess what? Firefly was really good. Guess what else? It was also too expensive and they didn't have enough people watching it. That's why Firefly got canceled. I know. Controversy, but it's like everybody's shocked as to, well, The Acolyte was too expensive. Of course it was too expensive. Nobody was watching it and they threw too much money at it and it was bad. Hence, I don't know why people are shocked. This is the only measurement when it comes to whether or not a show is successful. Cost, popularity. That's it.
Yeah.
Kind of spin it into the reason why. Oh, it's actually good. It's like, that doesn't mean anything.
No, we gotta continue it.
Ugh.
For those 2 people that watch.
For the 2 people that watch. Hey, in a shocking turn of events, Remedy Entertainment, which is embroiled with Sweet Baby Inc., seems to be changing its job application, I guess, biases. They had mandatory pronoun selection in their job applications, which was controversial, as it was seen as
Ooh.
I don't know how you'd phrase it, discriminatory in hiring practices. Well, they've removed that from their job applications because guess what? There's been a lot of poor reception of their games. And when people don't like you doing woke stuff, you tend to fall back away from the woke content that you produce. Shocking. It feels like every week we just kind of sit there and report on obvious turn of events. Doesn't it? No one's surprised that woke is no longer popular. Let's stop doing it. Hey, everybody, it's no longer popular. We'll stop doing it. Here's an interesting story. Silver, who is famously in love with Pixar. So there was a new show coming out
course.
from Pixar
Oh, no.
revolving around, I guess, kids playing baseball. And apparently word got out that they had a trans story about one of the kids being transsexual in the film, and it was cut out. Apparently it's a show. Anyway, it was cut out, and there's a bunch of controversy as to why it was cut out. And essentially Disney's statement was, we feel that how'd they phrase it? That the trans issue is something that parents should teach their kids and not something that they should be introducing to children on their own. Yeah, they shouldn't be putting in politics into things. And if parents want to teach their kids about it, that should be the parents' job to teach their kids about these issues. I think perhaps Hollywood is realizing that the political road that they went down was so unpopular that they're starting to pull back on everything. If the trans stuff was very popular, it would be in the show. The reaction has been negative. Nobody wants that stuff in the content that they consume, and that's why it's being cut from the show. And it received a lot of backlash from trans activists who believe that it's important to have representation and show these trans characters in content. But all you end up succeeding in doing is having people simply refuse to watch their content. And Disney has not been performing as well as people actually think it has been. Is it a good sign? Or is it just a cynical ploy of like, well, they don't like it, so we're not going to do it? Has Hollywood finally started to change? Has Hollywood started to finally start to figure it out? Or is this just them cynically going, it's not popular right now?
I mean, it's probably a bit of both, you know. They're seeing like, oh, yeah, it's not popular. We're not, gonna do that anymore. Try and lean into more of what the majority likes. You can see, like, with that, they pulled out the transgender stuff. They, who knows, topping the Alkali might have been part of it. Like, oh, yeah, no one's watching it. It's also costing too much. I can't end it. There was something else they changed. I forget what it was, though. It was with, was it the new Inside Out?
I think there was rumor there was going to be sort of her liking another girl, but I don't know if that was true.
Yeah.
But
That's what I heard, but
these aren't received well. But they insist on putting it feels like the political winds are shifting, and a lot of these companies are realizing that they're just hemorrhaging money because of the decisions that they're making. You know what I'm sick of? All of the politics and everything. You know what I want to have a discussion about? Whether or not a movie is good or bad. I'm sick of talking about, they have all this political messaging in the film, and then being like, it sucks, and I don't want to watch it. And I think Hollywood is realizing that people don't like it, and they're not interested anymore. And that show probably would have tanked in all likelihood because nobody wants to see it and no one wants to show it to their children. And that's why no one was going to watch it. Did you know in this past year, a of the top 10 new programs, new shows to come out, Disney didn't have one in the top 10.
Oh,
And they
that's
spent
no
millions
good.
and millions of dollars on new content this year. Hundreds of millions of dollars, actually.
Yep.
Like Paramount Plus
Ton of failed
had top
shows.
10 shows. Disney did not.
Well, Disney, what does that tell you?
Well, it should tell you the direction that they're going. It should tell you what we're actually getting out of this. Some news shared by Jason. Apparently, Borderlands fans aren't happy about Borderlands 4 Vault Hunters. Yeah, I'm not going to log in. Trailer was announced at Game Awards that nobody cares about, but most of the reaction seems to be that the Vault Hunters look bland and atrocious. I kind of fell off the Borderlands bandwagon in Borderlands 2. Meh. Like, I don't care. These characters don't look interesting. I mean, I'm not enraged by it when I don't care about Borderlands, so it's hard for me to get really emotional about what these characters look like.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not into Borderlands either. So I'm like, I don't care.
And apparently in the world of Games Workshop, one of the worst companies in the world, that they are looking for a visionary and new narrative lead to head up the future of Warhammer 40k, despite the fact 40k has sucked, narratively speaking, in the last while. So I'm not expecting them to turn things around. I've pretty much fallen off the Warhammer bandwagon because, once again, they've produced crappy content. And this is what we get. This is the response we get. And these are the results that we have. Silver.
Yes.
It's a special Christmas time. And as we've ended
Crimbus.
the... Crimbus. As we've ended the news dump. Well, what are some of your favorite Christmas memories?
Most memorable one I can think of right now was sitting with my grandma, grandpa, and a bunch of extended family, and opening up my favorite little Tinkerbell dolls.
Oh.
Yeah,
You still have those? The
I had
Tinkerbell
two
dolls?
of them. I do. They were made of porcelain.
I remember a Christmas when I was a little kid, and
Yeah.
my mom thinks that what happened was the presents were mislabeled. And that year, you usually get one kind of big present and some little ones when we were kids. And my bigger present I got that year was I got a duck lamp. It was a lamp that was a duck. And my sister got Starscream from Transformers. And I remember thinking at the time, wait a minute.
Hold on, gosh darn it.
And my sister had Starscream, and she kept Starscream forever, and I never got Starscream. So that year I got a duck lamp, and my sister got a Transformer. And I remember being confused at the time as to why that would happen. And I still have the duck lamp today, and nobody knows what happened to that Transformer.
Ducky.
The Mallard, more specifically.
Oh, Mallard Ducky.
Most of my Christmases were spent at Grandma's house when I was a child. A lot of, at least when it comes to gaming, a lot of our memories when it comes to gaming, a lot of most people's video games they get were around Christmas, and then those are the games you just play during the year. So a lot of video game memories, being a kid getting cool stuff, was getting these games at Christmas, playing them in Grandma's basement when I was a little kid, of getting a Sega Genesis and playing Streets of Rage 2 or playing Sonic 2 or gaming is inexorably linked to Christmas, I would say. Most people get their big cool stuff because of the holiday. Most of my consoles, I was the first one to get a DVD player in my household because I got a PlayStation 2. I got an Xbox and I was the first person to sit and play Halo, and a lot of my best memories when it comes to gaming are related to Christmas because I got that stuff because of the holidays.
Oh gosh, now that I think about it, yeah, I got
all of the big gaming stuff
on Christmas.
were console, because Christmas is the big holiday, and that's why you get the stuff. Let's see, your PlayStation 4 was a Christmas, the Switch was Christmas, the Xbox Series X was a Christmas. I don't know about your Xbox
and my
One.
Xbox One.
My
Xbox One was, and my 360.
And your 360. Gaming is a Christmas, like it's Christmas linked. Like Christmas is attached to gaming, as has always been. Getting a Nintendo, that was Christmas. Sega was Christmas. The Sega CD I have was Christmas. The Sega Saturn I have was Christmas. The Xbox original, the Xbox, I think I might have purchased the Xbox 360. No, the Xbox 360 was Christmas. Xbox One, I think I bought myself. The PlayStation 3 I bought myself, but it was around Christmas. The Xbox Series X I bought myself. I mean, Christmas is all over gaming. And most of my gaming experiences were getting this stuff and then having an amazing day just playing these games and hanging out. When you got your Switch, you spent practically that whole Christmas playing Zelda.
Breath of the Wild, yeah.
Yeah.
I finished it that Christmas break. It took like a week.
And you had a blast.
And Liza P.
And Liza P. You know what was the best? Because I gave you Liza P for Christmas. You know what's the best part about that is you get them for the holiday too. And the Switch was a perfect Christmas present because you could carry it to all of the other family functions. Still have it with you. As everything got boring, you could sit in the corner.
What's that doodad you have there? I'm like, it Link.
What's that mysterious contraption you have there, Silver?
And like a 6-year-old, I'm like, it's a Nintendo Switch.
It's a Nintendo
so
Switch,
good.
yes.
Show up on the TV.
I'm playing my Zelda.
Play Zelda.
It's a lot of fun.
I am the hero with the Master Sword.
It looks like we're getting first inclinations of expectations for the Switch 2 coming in next year. Hopefully it's a banger. I got my PSVR 2 last Christmas. Good times. What's one of your favorite presents? Because I had a great year where we got the 64 and we had Rogue Squadron, Mario 64, and Ocarina of Time that year, and it was amazing.
One of the most memorable ones was getting the Xbox One. I remember it being so unexpected. I never went like, hey, I want an Xbox One. I just had the 360 for so freaking long. I'm just like, this is my one thing.
It's time to upgrade.
Yeah. I don't know if my parents were like, we think that's old. You've had it forever. I wonder if there's a new one. Or if my brother's like, that thing's old. What are you doing?
Santa gave pity on you. Instead of the gun, he gave you an Xbox One.
Yeah.
Well, and your Xbox One chugged along forever until you got the Series X, which is awesome.
I know, that was the upgrade.
That was a big upgrade. Series X is a great
It's a
console.
close
I don't
tie
care.
with the,
I don't care if PlayStation
Switch.
5 is winning this year. Series X is a great console.
it's a great console.
It really is. I prefer the controller over the PlayStation 5 controller. And you might go, oh, well, you're just a shill. I have a PlayStation 5. It's right there. I can see it from here. And guess what?
Right there.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
mean, it's got some good games and some bad. I think the first party games are better on the PS5, but a lot of the first party games, the big first party games, I don't like. I'm not a fan of the current God of War. Not interested. Don't like Spider-Man 2. Think it sucks. I didn't like the Miles Morales game, and I think it sucks. So a lot of the big first party games, I just kind of skipped. And a lot of the stuff I do on PlayStation 5 tends to be more Japan focused. So I play some JRPGs on that thing, and yeah, I had a lot of fun with Ghostwire.
The Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy, that's actually why I bought it, is to play Final Fantasy
Yeah.
Remake, the upgrade and Rebirth, because it was PS5 only, and play 16, and I love 16, despite the fact that it wasn't as popular as it seemed to be. I thought 16, I had so much fun with 16, I thought it was great. I maxed out all the trophies on that thing.
First thing I played when I got that PlayStation 4 was Bloodborne. I'm just like, yes.
That's why you wanted it in the first place,
Yes.
so you could play Bloodborne. And I
I was like,
remember
oh, Bloodborne.
And I remember fighting bosses on that thing with you, playing Bloodborne. I actually had to make a new character and play through a huge chunk of the game to catch up with you, so I could play with you.
we did like 2 bosses at one point, and then it was like, okay, we're done for the night. And then the next day, I'm like, the final boss kill.
Well, the funny thing is, a lot of those Soulsborne games is you end up in a situation where the bosses aren't designed for multiple players. So you almost trivialize the boss if you have somebody else there, because you just wreck them.
Oh yeah, hilarious.
Which we did, because if I recall, I
Yeah, I
joined
forgot
you
which one it
around
was.
or just before the Gowl, and that one boss we really wrecked was the weird eldritch horror that came out of the sky and had all the weird tentacles, and then there were people up in the ramparts around the side.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
See, and that's how I see gaming. Is it's quintessentially the social experience as much as most people play them by themselves, and some of the funnest times we have it playing with other people. Have a good holiday, everybody. Hang out, play a game, hang out with your buddies. And you don't have to have massive cool things. Sit down, get a console, do some cool stuff, watch a neat movie. It doesn't always have to be about what you have. It just it's the experience and the fun you're having. Silver, something to leave us with?
Yeah, just enjoy yourself. Find something to do. Find what you like to do. Do it over this holiday. Something you usually don't get to do.
Yeah, make an effort to have fun. Sometimes you have to set
Like
aside
me.
the time for it.
I finally
Yeah.
get to draw.
You know what we're
I
probably
never
doing
get to
after
do that.
this? Elden Ring.
Oh gosh.
We'll probably do
Oh
that.
gosh.
I'm gonna help her play through that whole flipping thing.
We're gonna
One at
die.
a time. Well, let's get out of here, everybody. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Merry Christmas.
If you like the show, follow Rhett, Jason, Ross, and Silver, the world's most lethally stupid internet personalities, on Twitter at DG Podcast or on Instagram at Distracted Gamers. If you liked or hated what you heard here today, you can email them at thedistractedgamers@gmail.com and share your feelings. Not that Jason would care, since he hasn't any, of course.
Oh my God, it's so juicy.